Montour slams that puck out to center. Lomberg settles it down. Lomberg's got a chance. He shoots. He scores! Oh, the Lamborghini against his former team makes it 4-2.
Welcome to Project Panthers, a weekly podcast discussing your Florida Panthers. Now, here's your host, Brunswick.
What a week. The show is Project Panthers. I am indeed your host, Brunswick. Welcome back to another episode of the only solo Florida Panthers podcast on the internet. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, that means you found me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other major podcast platform on the internet. Remember to find us on Twitter. Follow us at projpanthers. That's P-R-O-J Panthers. Find us on Instagram by searching Project Panthers or Project Panthers Pod, and on Facebook by searching Project Panthers. That's right, baby. I'm back. You thought you could get rid of me, but it ain't happening. I'm back. I'm back and in pog form. Okay, but seriously, I do apologize for the hiatus from the show. Turns out getting pregnant with my wife and moving into a new house and also starting a new daytime gig, it can be a little time consuming. I wasn't able to focus on the games in ways that I wanted to in order to do this show properly. The last thing I want to do is BS you guys with bad takes because I haven't been paying attention to the games properly. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to be a bullshit artist. If I want to provide my expert analysis, I got to be doing the analysis, right? But that's all behind us. I'm going to try my best to stay consistent with the show moving forward. But as baby day approaches in my life, I cannot foresee what the future brings. But regardless, I appreciate you tuning in and continuing to follow the show. Your support is so greatly appreciated. I love the interactions on Twitter. Any engagement with you is it brightens up my day every single time you guys talk to me in any way, whether it's disagreeing with me or agreeing with me. I just love to talk Panthers. I mean, I literally just record a show when I can talking about the Panthers, right? Speaking of those Panthers, they are chasing down top spot in the NHL. They're doing their darndest, winning 4 of their last 5, but their road struggles, they're continuing. Huberdeau and Barkov are leading the charge at home, but can they carry this momentum onto the road? Team's current record sits at 22-7-5 at the time of this recording. Let's see how we got there. Game 30 of the season for the Panthers after some extended time off for them dealing with COVID postponements ahead of the Christmas break, but boy, did that pause do the team good. Their last game, if you remember it, before the holiday break, came against the Los Angeles Kings. They didn't even dress 18 skaters. A lot of guys got called up from the AHL, and listen, they put forth a hell of an effort, but the Kings just had more skill and more talent on that night, and it was evident with the 4-1 loss. But that's okay. That's okay. That's all behind us. Doesn't matter. With the long layoff, Captain Alexander Barkov, he's had enough time to rest up, get himself back and ready to play for this one. On top of that, the Cats got Carter Verhagey back in the lineup, as well as Gustav Forsling, Mason Marchment, and Maxime Mammon. A little bit of murmurs ahead of this one that Jonathan Huberdeau was going to be out in COVID protocol, but he was on the ice for the warm-up and did dress for this game. Owen Tippett is out, but that moves Sam Reinhart up to the second line with Sam Bennett and Jonathan Huberdeau. Sergei Bobrovsky also back in the lineup with Spencer Knight called back up from Charlotte after a very short stint down there. Not a great one, but short, so small sample size. Panthers leading the league in goals at home coming into this one with 69. Nice. So the team is hoping that trend continues. The surprising New York Rangers with a better record than the Panthers going into this one, and they've proven they are a difficult team to play against when they had their way with the Cats earlier this season in MSG in one of the worst performances by the Panthers this season so far. I say so far, but, maybe they won't have ones like that. Again, the ever pessimist, I guess, right? That's who I am? No. I'm trying to be optimistic. How can you not right now, right? Panthers, they start the game with some buzz and energy in the Rangers zone, but goaltender Igor Shesterkin stands tall to survive the flurry. The two agitators on both sides, Patty Hornquist and Chris Kreider, they get into a bit of a tussle before the Panthers get called for high sticking. Sam Bennett getting called for his team-leading 13th minor penalty of the season. That leads the team and is good for 4th in the Eastern Conference in that stat. We were warned by Calgary fans of his penalty troubles, and we're starting to finally see that this season. But lucky for Sir Samuel of House Bennett, the Cats stave off the 6th best power play in the NHL and managed to keep the game tied at 0. Halfway through the first, the Rangers take advantage of Mackenzie Weegar pinching too deep in the Rangers zone. Artemi Panarin finds himself one-on-one against Aaron Ekblad. Woo! He makes a gorgeous move to get it through Ekblad's leg, proceeds to beat Bob under his pad for his 10th goal of the season. Listen, Bob maybe could have had this one, but the Cats get burned for their offensive first mentality, and I tell you, this move was absolutely gorgeous. Again, could Bob have stopped it? Probably, but it was all part of the move. The trickery to get around Ekblad's body and then also expose the puck on an angle where Bob might be thinking he'll be shooting a little higher, just enough to get Bob to lift the leg, get that space under the pad. You got to give props to Panarin on this one. I don't think that was necessarily a bad play by Bob or Ekblad, although I think Ekblad could have played the body, but this was just an absolute stunning goal. Absolute stunner. Panthers respond well, though, to the Rangers' goal. They keep up the pressure on Shesterkin, but he makes saves off of Lundell and Bennett to hang on to the 1-0 lead. Zibanejad, a few minutes later, walks in on Bob, but he flashes the glove after Weegar left Mika wide open for the opportunity. Not a strong first period from Mackenzie Weegar in this one. Rangers, they get on a power play for the second time after Carter Verhagey takes an offensive zone penalty, and they move the puck around well, creating a chance after chance, but Bob, he manages to steer away each one. Period ends with the Rangers up 1-0, outshooting the Cats 14-12. Panthers get their own power play early in the second period, but nothing to show for it. That's okay, though, because just a few minutes later, Panthers rookie Anton Lundell, he scores his 6th of the season after Lomberg makes a heads-up play, getting that puck to the net. It comes out to Forsling. He throws it on net, and Lundell puts it home from his knees to tie the game. Nice little goal from Anton on this one. Teams that continue to battle as the physicality increases in comparison to the first period. Rangers really throwing that body around, showing around what the kind of acquisitions they've made in the offseason to make themselves a tougher team to play against. And at least according to the eye test, they look like a tougher team to play against for sure. The Rangers strike again in the second, though. Gudas gets stripped in his own zone by Panarin. I mean, most of the players, they were already up ice, but Panarin, most of the play was actually up ice. Panarin was behind the play by himself. He backhands it across to a streaking Mika Zibanejad who caught wind of what happened, turned right around. He scores, makes it 2-1. Another miscue defensively. I mean, again, most of the guys on the team, on the Panthers, they were either up ice or looking up ice already and not exactly covering their responsibilities in the defensive zone. You cannot do that against a dangerous Rangers team. They are offensive. They play a very dynamic game. And, you know, Panarin picked Gudas' pocket on this play, but I think if Gudas had just had his head up a little bit more and was paying attention, the play probably could have been avoided. It could have. The third line was by far the best line for the Cats through 2 periods. Both Barkov and Huberdeau struggling to get their lines going, but the line of Lundell, Marchment, and Mammon, they all look hungry and have active sticks, creating chances, blocking chances. Almost every shift, they are noticeable by the time the second period ends with the Rangers up 2-1. The Rangers come out with fire in the third, and Bobrovsky's forced to make a couple of really big saves, including stopping Ryan Strome on a breakaway from the blue line. Panthers get a power play a few minutes in, but they get nothing to show for it, much like the first goal. Not long after, though, the power play, after it expires, Mason Marchment finds Mackenzie Weegar at the top of the circle, and he rips it past Shesterkin for Weegar's first goal of the season. 30 games, it took weeks to get this one. You could see the just load jump off his back, the proverbial monkey jumping off his back after that goal. There was actually a GIF going around on Twitter of Weegar before this goal was scored in the second period, where I don't exactly remember who he's talking to, but he's just saying, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. And I don't know what he was talking about. I feel like his inability to score in that moment is what he was talking about. So nice to see Weegar. I mean, listen, maybe it's a little storybook ending that I'm trying to put on this whole thing, but nice to see Weegs get that goal. Struggled a bit in this game to start, but that goal definitely going to be a shot of confidence for him. Cats, they discombobulated a bit after that, though. After that goal, they kind of I think they all got a little too hyped for Weegs and sort of didn't focus on the game. And the Rangers really tried their darnest to strike back. They even find themselves on a 2-on-0 down low. But Bob makes a save, and Vetrano comes back to break up the play. Beautiful, beautiful little defensive efforts by the team and by Bob there on that one to keep the game tied. Not long after that, though, Verhagey, he takes a pass from Gudas at center ice. He gains entry into the Rangers zone that kind of just let him walk right in, and he zips one under the arm of Shesterkin for a goal that I think surprised everyone in the building. Not necessarily a bad goal, but kind of came out of nowhere. 8th goal of the season for Verhagey. Really deceptive shot from Cardi V. I mean, we've seen that before many times. His first goal in 9 games. He's got a slightly smaller monkey than Weeg, so that one comes off of his back. He's probably feeling pretty good after that goal as well. After the Panthers take the lead 3-2, game slows down a bit. Third Panthers goal. After that third Panthers goal, but that works in the favor of the Cats as they find themselves on a 3-on-2 after Duclair blocks a shot in the Panthers zone. Bennett finds the late man, Anthony Duclair, and he snipes it over Shesterkin's glove. 4-2 lead with under 5 minutes to go. That's Duke's 10th goal of the season. All but ices it, but you can't just have anything easy in Pantherland, can you? Chris Kreider, he manages to stuff home a goal with 44 seconds left, cuts the lead to 1, but this ain't the Cats of 10, 15 years ago where they collapsed in the last minute, and that was pretty much their forte. They do manage to hold on to the lead in this one, and they win with a 4-3 final. Huge win for the Cats after a long break. Bob, he was fantastic for most of the night, and I cannot overstate his importance in that third period, making that save on Stroman, being such a stellar wall down the stretch. Panthers right back in action the following night against their cross-state rivals, the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Bolts battling some COVID issues of their own. No Andrei Vasilevsky in net for them. Instead, Maxime Lagacé gets to start, a AHL journeyman kind of guy. Has had a cup of coffee in the NHL. Not great numbers, but it is what it is. This is sort of the world we're living in these days, right? Cats, they came back with the same lineup as the big win with the Rangers, except for Sam Bennett is out for this one. Spencer Knight also in net instead of Bob. He gets to start after that short stint in Charlotte. Lightning have won 9 of their last 10 going into this game, despite all the injuries and COVID issues. But Cats, they get to Lagacé early on when Brandon Montour finds Anthony Duclair breaking in through the Bolts defense. He's all alone. He proceeds to snipe one past Lagacé for the early 1-0 lead. That is Duke's 100th career NHL goal, so great to see him get to that milestone and really coming into his own with the Panthers in his second season on the squad. The Bolts, they turn the game around on the Cats, though, after this goal, and they really step up their pace. A couple of decent chances, but nothing Spencer Knight can't handle. Ross Colton, he takes a goaltender interference call, and the new and improved, quote-unquote, Panthers power play that we got to hear about in the media ahead of this one gets to work. They actually do a surprisingly good job of moving the puck around before Barkov hits the post, but Huberdeau is Jonathan on the spot, and he buries the backhand past Lagacé for the 2-0 lead for the Panthers. And they just keep coming. It's like that song from Death Stranding. Keep coming. Just under 3 minutes later, Anton Lundell finds Frank Vetrano open in the slot, and just like that, Huberdeau's goal, just like the Huberdeau goal, the puck hits the post first. But instead of someone else grabbing it this time, Vetrano is there to get his own bouncing puck. He shoots it into the open net, past Lagacé. 3-0 Panthers in the first. But don't consider this game over just yet. You can't. The Bolts have won back-to-back Stanley Cups, and despite having some injuries and COVID issues, they're a hell of a good team. Zach Bogosian, he snatches his own rebound on a tough angle after the Bolts break in. He squeaks it past Spencer Knight, cuts the lead to 2. It's a bit of a weird goal, but honestly, Bogosian just made the heads-up play on it. Lightning continue to step it up after the goal. Relentless forecheck and attacking the Panthers' defense down low in their own zone. Something the Lightning do very well as a group and something the Panthers struggle with as a group. We saw them exploit this a lot in the playoff series last season, and you can tell it's a weakness that they target in the Panthers. They do maintain the lead, though, late into the first, but Captain Barkov, he takes a rare minor penalty, gives the Bolts a shortened 4-on-3 before the end of the second, but the Cats do manage to kill off with just about 30 seconds to go in the penalty to start the second. Panthers managed to kill off that short power play at the start of the period, and just 3 minutes into the second stanza, Radko Gudas takes a pass from Ryan Lomberg. He flicks it towards the net from the point, and once again the puck hits the goalpost and comes out for a third straight time. This time it's Eetu Luostarinen. He is there for the rebound. He finds the back of the net for his 8th goal of the season. Starboy continuing to get on the score sheet and contribute for this team offensively and defensively. I really love his growth this season as a bottom 6 center. He plays a 200-foot game, and his offense is really starting to come around this year. The one thing I want to see him improve on is his faceoffs, though. Right now he's sitting at just under 40%, and those are numbers you'd like to see improve from your bottom 2 pairing centers. You know, it's just not a number that's up to snuff, and he's got to improve that. But regardless, his play has improved a ton from an already fairly stellar first season in the NHL. A nice 20-goal pace for him this season. Pretty unexpected, if you ask me. I can't say I would have expected possibly 20 goals from Luosterainen this season, but here we are. With his 8th of the year, he actually now passes the man he was traded for, Vincent Trocheck, who only has 7 goals in Carolina this season, for the lead. So, I mean, it looks like the trade is starting to turn the tide in favor of the Panthers now, right? With Chase Prisky looking pretty good in the AHL and decent enough in his short time up with the big club. Trocheck may not be renewed in Carolina and maybe maybe forced to go to free agency and find a home elsewhere. Looking good for the Panthers right now. Looking good. I mean, Eric Hall is, not with the team anymore, and Walmark is in the middle of somewhere in Russia, but still pretty good. Bolts, they once again do not sit back, and just a few minutes later, Steven Stamkos scores his team-leading 15th goal of the year off a quick tic-tac-toe play that Stamkos converts to cut the lead in half. Late in the second, the Bolts with a 27-18 shot advantage in this one, but the Panthers still managing to hold in that 4-2 lead. The game is a lot more even than the shots indicate, though, but the Cats, they're making their shots count. Despite the shot advantage for the Lightning, it's the Panthers who get on the board again. Cardi V, he finds himself all alone after a nice feed from Luosterainen. Verhagey gets it through Legacy. It stops on the red line for Maxim Mammon to tap home his 4th goal of the season. Mammon made a great bag check on this play just second before Verhagey's breakaway, and he gets rewarded with the easy goal at the other end of the ice. It's 2 plays in 2 games you've seen like this with Duclair getting rewarded with the shot block in the game against the Rangers, and Maxim Mammon getting rewarded with this nice defensive back check and then a goal at the other end. That is a beautiful thing to see as a coach, to see your players do the right thing defensively and then immediately get rewarded for it at the other end of the ice. That is chef's kiss. That is perfecto. That's a terrible Italian accent, but whatever. But the Panthers, they still are not done. They ain't done. Under a minute to go in the second period, Lundell gets the rebound off the shot from Uyghur in the Lightning zone and makes a nice move to the backhand to go get past Legacy for the 6-2 Panthers lead. You got to feel for Maxime Legacy in this one. Undrafted goalie. Clearly, the NHL is just a bit above his skill level, and the Lightning, they really aren't doing him any favors with their poor defensive coverage in this one. Can't blame the Cats for capitalizing on it, though. Every single game counts. 5 minutes into the third, the Bolts on a power play set up a passing play that Spencer Knight stops the first time, but they managed to pull off another time, and Point buries it the second time around once again to cut the lead in half. Lightning just will not lay down in this one. But really, just seconds later, Anthony Duclair gets sprung on a breakaway, makes a sweet little move on the backhand, scores his 2nd goal of the night, and a 7-3 lead for the Panthers. Backup goalie Hugo Allenfelt, he's playing his first AHL minutes ever, gives up a goal on a breakaway. So, I mean, welcome to the NHL, Allenfelt. That's tough start to get to, right? A couple minutes later, we get to the great 8 when Huberdeau finds Ekblad wide open with a behind-the-back no-look pass across the ice. Just a gorgeous goal from Huberdeau. But we've seen the kind of thing from him before. Kind of come to expect it at this point, right? Ekblad blasts it home for his 9th goal of the season. Yeah, that's good for 3rd in the league among defensemen in that category. You want to hear a crazy stat? Every single one of Aaron Ekblad's 9 goals this year have been at home. Not a single one of his goals have been on the road. Weird, right? Just one of those things, I guess, this season. For Higgy, he gets called for high sticking, but don't you know it? Huberdeau and Barkov, they find themselves on a 2-on-1. Hubie sends the pass cross ice to Barkov. He 1 times it home for the 9-3 lead. Huberdeau with the 5-point night as the building just about explodes. Crowd starts chanting, "We want 10. We want 10." They are out for blood. Things, of course, naturally devolve to a bunch of fights. By the end of this one, Cats get the dominant win and start a little streak post-Christmas break. They improved to 16-3-0 at home. Far and away the best record in that category in the league. And Cats are rolling into Saturday against a very depleted Habs team. With the Huberdeau's 5-point night, it's his 6th time a Panthers player in history has done that in a game. Huberdeau has done that 4 of the 6 times. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. He's just, his ability to put up points like this is just really, damn, he's so good these days. So good. In that aforementioned Habs game, 3rd game of a 4-game homestand for the Panthers after that holiday break. This is game 3 against Le Club de Hockey Canadien, a.k.a. the Montreal Canadiens, who personally I think neck and neck this year with the Arizona Coyotes. They are neck and neck with the Arizona Coyotes as the worst team in the league. But it's crazy, though, considering they were just in the Stanley Cup Finals not 6 months ago, that this is possibly one of the greatest falls from grace in NHL history in terms of season-to-season performance. But there's kind of a weird angle with that because they really weren't a good regular season team last year either. But they just kind of made it in because that Canadian division was so bad that they squeaked in as just being the best of a terrible bunch. Tough times in Montreal this year, though. Tough times for that group. The Habs, they come into this game ranked 28th out of 32 teams in goals for, dead last in goals against, dead last in power play, and 29th in penalty killing. Yeesh. Add to this the fact that the Habs are shorthanded in this game, much like the Caps were against the Kings a couple of weeks ago, and this has the recipe for an even uglier game than the one against the Bolts on Thursday. Habs dressing only 11 forwards and 5 defensemen, a group that consists of about 4 NHL caliber forwards and 1 NHL caliber defenseman. Seriously, I challenge you to go see Montreal's roster. Their cap hit for this game will be somewhere around $25 million for players that are dressed. That's insane. You'll probably recognize at least one of the names on the roster, though. Former Panther Sam Montembeault. He gets the start and goal against his old squad. Habs picked him up on waivers this offseason, and he got his 8th start of the season in this one. Not a lot of changes for the Cats after the 9-3 drumming of the Bolts on Thursday, but Sam Bennett does factor back in. Luosterainen takes a surprising seat in this one after a pretty solid game from him. Owen Tippett also back in the lineup as Bob gets the start. Panthers get going early in this one, just 32 seconds in. We see the chemistry from the Bennett, Huberdeau, and Duclair line that we saw all of last year. Well, not all of last year, but late last year, obviously. As Bennett finishes off the gorgeous no-look behind the back pass from Duke behind the net for his 10th goal of the season. He's now past the halfway mark for career highs in goals for a season in just his 26th game of the season. With the 1 p.m. start for this one, Bennett's goal is actually the first goal scored in the NHL for the calendar year of 2022. So a little piece of trivia there for you if you're taking notes. This line had crazy chemistry last season, as I mentioned earlier. But I believe they were broken up because of defensive issues as well as looking to expand the scoring depth on the bottom lines. But my goodness, they are just magic on offense. I really hope interim head coach Andrew Brunette keeps this line going as long as they still play defense. They got to play the defense. You got to keep that defense wins championships, right? So you got to worry about things in your own zone. Habs, they're not going away, not going to lay down. Just like the Lightning on Thursday, they take the beating, but they respond. Just a few minutes after the Panthers took the lead, the Habs move the puck around. David Savard finds Sammy Nicky, and he throws a wrister on net. Jonathan Drouin, another French-Canadian left winger, gets a stick on it as it deflects over Bob's shoulder to even up the score. Not long after, the Habs tie it up. Michael Pezzetta and Radko Gudas have a little tussle in front of the net, in front of the team benches after Pezzetta throws what I guess Gudas thought was a bit of a late hit. Kind of came in and made contact a few seconds after Gudas got rid of the puck. They both get thrown in the box for 5 minutes each. So, folks, we got ourselves a hockey game in this one. 2 goals and a fight. All that before a commercial break, really early on. Things got started. Cats, they start to turn up the offense as the period winds down, but former Panther Sam Montembeault, he makes some great saves through the stanza, and the game remains tied after one. Just about 5 minutes into the second period, Mason Marchment takes a light hit on the sideboards in the Habs zone, but he gets the worst of it as he immediately goes to the bench after contact and eventually to the dressing room. Not long after that, Huberdeau gets hauled down on a 2-on-1. The Cats go to the power play. That looks pretty good. Pretty real good, actually. But it fails to convert. Game still tied at 1 as the Panthers continue to ramp it up. And they start to take advantage of the shot totals. They really do. Cats get another power play just minutes after failing on the previous attempt. But it gets negated almost immediately when Ekblad slashes Nick Suzuki's stick out of his hand. Some fans on Twitter, they were frustrated with this call. And the building even started the classic chant of ref, you suck, but it's hockey rules 101 is you can't slash a player's stick out of his hand. Yeah, you could say he should be holding on his stick stronger, but you can't slash it out. If a ref sees that, it's always going to be called every single time. On the 4-on-4 play, the Habs get the upper hand. Some poor defensive coverage in their own zone as the Cats get caught puck watching. It leaves the Habs defenders wide open up top. Bob stops the initial shot, but the rebound sits right on Suzuki's stick. He pots it home for his 7th goal of the season. This is not the game that the Panthers should be losing by any stretch, and here we are. This is like one of those classic trap games, right? Just a couple minutes later, the Tides, they really start to turn in favor for the Cats, though. Frank Vetrano, he gets rewarded for a greasy back check on Caulfield, breaking up a play a few minutes earlier. And the Panthers get on the board. Reinhart with a laser pass across the ice finds a flying Vetrano in the zone for a 3-2 lead. That's Frankie's 8th goal of the season and Reinhart's 2nd primary assist in a row. Can't say enough about Reinhardt's playmaking ability. It's seriously downplayed, I would say, in his scouting reports. He's got a heavy shot and a good awareness for being in front of the net, but his heavy that's his most obvious talent for sure. But his ability to find a seam on a pass, oof, so talented. Guy's got great vision. Very, very, very skilled passer is Sam Reinhart. Panthers, they get another power play late in the second, but the Habs manage to kill it off. Cats take a 3-2 lead into the third. After a dominant second, by the time the Panthers come out flying in the third, just 15 seconds into the final frame, Uyghur sends a shot to the net. Sam Bennett gets a stick on it for his 2nd of the night. 4-2 Panthers. The Habs, they turn it on a bit offensively, but they cannot generate much. They're getting the shots on goal, but the quality just isn't there with the lineup that they've dressed. Mason Marchment, he ices the game, getting back into the lineup after leaving the game in the second period, finds himself on a 2-on-1. He keeps it, holds it, takes the shot, beats Montembeault. Cats, they put up the 48 shots on a dominant performance. They win this one 5-2 in a game that they should have won easily. It wasn't that easy, but they got it done anyways. Game 33 of the season, final one of the 4-game homestand for the Cats against the Calgary Flames. First look at former Panther Jacob Markstrom and his Flames this season. Panthers without Sam Bennett in this one as he was handed a 3-game suspension for a questionable hit he threw on Saturday afternoon. Sam Reinhart also held out of this one due to COVID protocols, as well as Mason Marchment out again after returning after that little hit, but I guess it was just enough to keep him out of the lineup in this one. This bumps Anton Lundell up to the second line. Joe Thornton gets back into the lineup as well. Panthers get a power play 5 minutes in after Noah Hannafin takes a hooking call. Patrick Hornquist gets them on board first after some really nice puck movement. Hornquist tries to throw it in front, but the puck comes right back onto his stick. He beats Markstrom on the far side for the early 1-0 Panthers lead. But barely a minute later, the Flames respond. Panthers are actually pressuring even more after the initial goal, but the Flames counter quickly and Johnny Gaudreau is sprung on the breakaway past Uyghur and Ekblad. He buries his 14th goal of the season. Great counterattack from the Flames on this play as the Weegs and Ek pairing just got beat down the ice. I mean, neither of those guys is particularly fleet of foot, so I can't say it's surprising. Gaudreau is a hell of a skater. He was past him with ease on this play. Then just 3 minutes later, though, Blake Coleman, he takes a pass around the net and sneaks it in off the back of Bobrovsky from a terrible angle for the 2-1 lead. You know, Bob would definitely want this one back as he just didn't seem to press his body up against the goalpost enough to stop the puck from getting through. Just squeaks by. Not a great goal from Bob on this one. Another 3 minutes later, Panthers up the pressure a bit and Forsling finds himself with a ton of real estate at the top of the Flames' defensive circle. He gets the puck on net, and Anthony Duclair, screening marks him in front, gets a piece of it to tie the game at 2s. Coleman and Huberdeau, they get into it a bit after the goal, but does not matter. The Cats tie the game up. Wild and offensive period. It continues with the Panthers getting their second power play of the period in the final few minutes after some good sustained pressure and puck movement, just like the first power play. And honestly, this power play is very much improved. I know they said that it was going to be improved, but damn, it's actually improved. And because of that, Brandon Montour gets a wrister on net, and similar to Duclair's goal, Joe Thornton is in front screening Markstrom, and he gets a stick on it in front for his 4th goal of the season, and suddenly the Panthers, they got the lead back. 5 goals in the first period. Wild one to start this one. It does end with the Cats up 3-2. The offense continues in the second period, but this time, Markstrom and Bobrovsky, they have different ideas. They both come up with big saves to keep the score the same as the shot total starts to crank up in the 30s at the halfway point of this game. This a lot of run and gun in this game. Both teams utilizing their speed of their forwards and pushing guys up the ice. It was run and gun. Seriously, I cannot emphasize that phrase enough in this one. Maxim Mammon, he flies up the ice after a beautiful back check, a common theme in this episode, and dances around almost the entire Flames team a la Connor McDavid. But he gets stopped by Markstrom at the very end of the play as last line of defense. Mammon had himself a hell of a game in this one, despite not ending up on the score sheet. I really love his energy and overall play with the club right now. It brings a nice dynamic, similar to Marchment with size and energy, but I think personally he's got even more offensive upside than Marchment. Maybe that's a hot take from me, considering Marchment's putting up some great numbers this season, but Mammon's got something about him that I think is really, really special. Bob makes a huge save on a give and go off a redirection in front off Backlund's stick. One of many big saves by Bob in this one. With under 20 seconds to go in the second period, the Flames bobble the puck in the neutral zone. That springs Luosterainen. He draws the 2 defenders to him, leaving Lomberg wide open for the pass. The Lamborghini settles the puck and beats Markstrom under the pad for his 3rd goal of the season against his former teammates. Lomberg's energy continues to be such a driving force for this team, and him getting rewarded is great to see. It's not just luck like last season, although he had that beautiful little batting goal, which I don't know if that was luck. That was a lot of skill when he scored that goal last season. But Lomberg has visibly improved his offensive skill and game awareness. He's in the right place a lot at the right time a lot more often this season. He has a lot more patience with the puck and is driving the net even better than he was last year. His ability to drop his shoulder and take the puck hard towards the net is rivaled by very few on this team. Cats take that 4-2 lead into the third period. Less than a minute into the third, Bobrovsky is asked to make a big save on Matthew Tkachuk, and he does just that by getting left pad out to stop the impressive opportunity. Flames really put the pedal down at the start of this period and start catching up in shot totals before Patrick Hornqvist intercepts a pass at the Flames blue line, whips a wrister past Markstrom, far side, 5-2 Panthers after a very poor defensive play by the Flames. Lucas Carlson, he has a late goal in this one, and despite the Flames putting up 49 shots, the Panthers come up with the huge 6-2 victory, closing out the homestand 4-0-0, with scoring 24 goals in that span. Hell of a return from break for the Cats before they head back on the road in Dallas. Bobrovsky had an incredible game in this one. He gave up that second goal to Coleman, a bit of a stinker, and just completely shut the door after that. This is what you pay a goalie $10 million for. Performances like this. Daryl Sutter said in this one after the game, his comments about the team were pretty impressive. He's a respected mind in this game, has been for years. The Sutter family is possibly the most famous family in the NHL, in NHL history. And for him to praise the Panthers the way he did, although he did throw some shade at his own players, he really praised the team that the Panthers have and just how hard they are to play against, and they are hard to play against. So take pride in your team right now, in a mind like Sutter giving such praise to this group. Really, really great to hear. Following that 4-game homestand, interim head coach Andrew Brunette claimed the team, and I quote, hasn't established the way we want to play on the road yet. It starts tonight, end quote. Standing in the Panthers' way is the Dallas Stars, a team the Cats saw a ton of last season in the temporary Central Division. Dallas struggling a bit this year, sitting 4th last in the Western Conference, but they are a bit behind in games played, so standings are a bit skewed there. They're also a very good home team this year with only 3 regulation losses in their own barn. That's tied with the Cats for second lowest in the league. Braden Holtby gets to start for the Stars, and the Panthers counter with Sergei Bobrovsky. Florida's lineup looks just about the same as it did on Tuesday night against the Flames, but Olli Juolevi gets into the lineup over Lucas Carlsson in the bottom pairing spot, so that means that Joe Thornton is in the lineup for his 1700th career NHL game. Quite a career for Jumbo Joe, and one of many milestones he's hit throughout it. Congrats to him again. As far as Juolevi getting into the lineup, I'm very surprised that Carlson is still not in. He's got the best Corsi on the team. Another surprise move. I don't really understand what this guy needs to do to stay in the lineup. It's not like Juolevi's had a bunch of strong performances either, but I guess Brunette's just trying to keep things competitive on that bottom pairing, which I totally get from his perspective. Panthers do come out strong in this one, specifically Owen Tippett. He gets stopped a few seconds into this one on a point-blank chance and then hits a goalpost only a few minutes later on another opportunity generated by his own hustle. You'd love to see Tippett get going early on in a game to build some confidence because it's evident that's what he needs right now. The old squeezing the stick too hard adage is what comes to mind when watching OT play right now. Rupe Hintz breaks through the Cats' defense a bit later, but Bob is up to the challenge and makes a great blocker save before the puck gets cleared from his crease. So the Stars wearing their neon green and black jerseys, I cannot say that I'm a fan of these. Kind of like the designer discovered the green highlighter for the first time and just said, oh, doesn't this look cool? Stars have had some awesome kits over the years, but this one, yeah, I'm just not a fan of. Cats all over the Stars in the first 10 minutes. Dallas failing to have any sustained pressure in the offensive zone, and the Cats get rewarded for their efforts with the power play after Verhagey draws a call on the partial break, and they waste no time with this one. Just 16 seconds into the man advantage, Barkov set up in the slot, takes the pass from Huberdeau, and he just wires an laser from the slot that gets past Holtby for the 1-0 lead. Huberdeau adding to his assist total, sitting second in the league, only 2 helpers behind Connor McDavid for the league lead. I can't even believe I just said that sentence because you know the kind of seasons that Connor has, and Huberdeau is right there with him in terms of assists. We've really, I got to say, we've really taken Huberdeau for granted over the years here, and stats like this kind of remind you just how great he is. Sometimes we can forget how amazing of a player he really is and just how much overall his game has grown. I tweeted out earlier this week that Huberdeau has 273 points in his last 238 games played, a total that he's added to since then, obviously, with this assist. It's a filthy run that needs to be acknowledged more. He's 4th in the league in points and doesn't show any signs of slowing down in any facets of his game. On top of all that offensive output from him, he's expanded his role defensively this season by adding the penalty killing to his repertoire. Something he's surprisingly good at. He's actually got a nose for that. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, enough gushing about Huberdeau, because hockey is a fickle game, and it doesn't matter how many chances you get and how much you dominate on the score on the shot totals. If you don't score, it does not matter. And the Dallas Stars, they sit tied for the league lead in faceoff percentage, and they get rewarded for that skill when Radek Faksa, he wins the draw back to John Klingberg. He fires a shot to the net. Michael Raffle is in the right spot for the deflection through Bob's legs, and the Stars tie it despite barely having a pulse to start this game. Shots are 15-7 late in the first, really flying out there for the Panthers, and the Stars struggling to contain the speed. Stars do manage to kill off a power play that Cardi V draws late in the second period, but they draw a call of their own late when Maxim Mammon takes a penalty with just a few seconds left in the first, sets up a power play for the Stars in the start of the second. But after one, shots sit 18-10 in favor of the Panthers, but the score tied 1-1. But just 18 seconds into the second period, Alexander Barkov scores one of the nicest goals of his career. On the PK, he takes the puck into the neutral zone, makes a stutter step move on Heiskanen as he flicks the puck into the air, gets around Heiskanen and goes wide around Holtby, backhands it into the net for an absolute stunner of a beauty. Oh my, what a beaut. Similar to Panarin's goal we saw last week, where it was sort of something out of nothing. Incredible skill on display. Just damn, what a goal. But once again, you cannot count the Stars out. On that same power play, Jamie Benn finds himself open in the slot. Bob comes up to challenge the play, But the puck squeaks through. The Stars tie this one right back up. Just a few minutes later, though, the Panthers do strike again. Forsling gets a shot towards the net after a missed shot by Gudas. Patrick Hornquist in front of the net gets a stick on it, and it gets through Braden Holtby to restore the Panthers' lead 3-2 now as Hornquist continues his scoring ways. 3 goals in 2 games for him. Gudas throws a questionable hit on Rupe Hintz in the Panthers' corner. Goes uncalled right in front of the ref. I think that was the right call. Wasn't that dirty. Kind of situational in my opinion. But this kind of wakes the Stars up. They get some rare offensive pressure for the third time tonight, they do come back and tie it up. This time John Klingberg again sends another shot towards the net. After another Stars face-off win, puck gets deflected once again, and we have a tie game. Trigger disaster for the Cats as just moments later the Panthers get caught puck watching all on the sideboards. Weegar leaves the zone a little bit too early. Tyler Seguin finds himself behind the play, takes a pass, and dekes a backhand past Bobrovsky for the 4-3 lead. 28 seconds between goals for the Stars. This game turned around in a hurry. The Stars really upped the pressure after that goal. They start committing more to the forecheck and causing trouble for the Panthers in the breakouts. This results in a turnover after turnover for the Cats, which in turn leads to scoring chance after scoring chance for the Stars. But Bob, he stands tall, and thank goodness he does, because the Panthers get some pressure of their own back in the Dallas zone. And after some commotion in front of the net, Mackenzie Weegar pops his second goal of the season. Really nice job disrupting the Stars in front of the net by the Cats' fourth line of Lomberg, Luosterainen, and Hornquist. Done are the days of expecting the Panthers to lose the moment they fall behind in a game. You just can never count this team out. We have ourselves another gold-filled one in this one, with the second period ending tied 4-4. Dallas comes out looking pretty good in the third. Much more even play between these two teams, a little more in favor of what Dallas is looking for, slowing the game down a bit. Not much offense, though, as both teams sort of look to avoid making a mistake. Costly mistake is just what happens as the Panthers get some signals crossed. Bobrovsky leaves his net and doesn't notice Denis Gurianov pressuring the play. He gives the puck away. Gurianov gets around the Panthers net and finds Jamie Benn open in the slot. He pots home his 9th goal of the season, puts the Stars up 5-4. The game has really grinded to a halt at this point and continues to work in the Stars' favor. The Panthers don't get their first shot on goal until 7 minutes into the third period. Stars are clogging up the neutral zone, dropping 3 guys back and not really letting the Panthers build up speed to get into the zone. Really impressive coaching stuff from the Stars in this third period. I gotta say that. I really do. Panthers pull Bobrovsky with just under 3 minutes to go as they get desperate to tie this one up. Cats throw everything in the kitchen sink at the Dallas Stars, but Braden Holtby stands tall in the dying moments. But it ain't over. It's never over with these Cats. With 28 seconds left, the Panthers get a huge face-off win of the night. Ekblad gets the puck to Huberdeau. He winds up his patented wrister and snipes at top cheese on Holtby to tie the game. Comeback Cats get it done again, securing the single point as this game moves on to overtime. An absolutely wild extra period between these two clubs, including a breakaway for Barkov that he misses for the hat trick, and a 2-on-1 for the Stars in the final seconds of the final stanza that they just hit the post on. Ooh. Tell you, this one was a clincher, a real clincher. This game heads to the penalty shot contest. Dallas, they get 2 quick goals from Pavelski and Robertson that beat Bob Five-Hole, his clear kryptonite in these shootouts, and the Stars win 6-5 after Anton Lundell fails to score on his opportunity. Panthers' road record falls to an abysmal 4-4-5, just not up to snuff for a team that is trying to contend for the Stanley Cup this year. They really need to figure out their game on the road because this is just not a good sign. Sitting bottom 3 in the league in face-off percentage is one of those things that leads to failures on the road. You cannot control your matchups when you're not playing at home, and if you're getting beat on the coaching side of things, it makes it that much more difficult to get wins away from your barn. Not sure what the remedy is at this point. Defensively, they look completely different on the road than they do at home. They're a shell of a team away from Sunrise. That's going to do it for me this week. Thank you once again for listening. Huge game on Saturday in Carolina for the Panthers. A battle between 2 of the best in the league. You know this is going to be one hell of a matchup against Trocheck and the Hurricanes. Canes are playing some great hockey of their own right now, so this will be another great litmus test for the group as they look to win their first playoff series and hopefully more this upcoming postseason. The road struggles are still there. They got to turn this around. They really got to right the ship away from home. Because if they're not going to do that, they're going to struggle and probably lose in the first round of the playoffs again. I don't think any of us can handle another year of that. I am Brunswick. This has been your latest episode of Project Panthers for the week. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and all your favorite socials by searching Project Panthers. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go Cats, go. Have a week.